What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be doing a review on the 1963 Cadillac Coupe DeVille. Now, I was never one for a full body car. I've always been into Toyota Supras. I've always wanted muscle cars, but I never thought I would ever own a full body car. And after owning one, oh my God, it's something you need to do. They drive like these older ones, 63. I'm really looking forward to the Buick over there. It's going to have very similar drive. I think it's going to have a very similar drive characteristics as the 63, and it's an experience, guys. Just wait until we go out, and it's the best expression is if you ever got the chance to drive a bass boat, like a real nice high performance bass boat. It grabs the lake. Well, this grabs the road. Sure, she kind of lisps, but you tell her to turn, she's right on a dime. And she's a really good example of a survivor. She's not perfect, but third owner. It's got 35,000 original miles on it, and other than some touch-up paint here and there, you can kind of see they must have had a little bit of issues that they kind of did some touch-up. We have some paint peeling off of it, but it's a 1963, and we only pulled it out of a pole barn really a couple months ago, and I haven't had a chance to do anything to it, mostly because I've been enjoying it. And that's something I really like about this car. I've probably put around 1,500 miles on it, including the road trip. There's some weird things, like they painted the chrome right here. I don't know, it's maybe their preference. It was weird that they did that, but you know, hey, we do have some issues with the driver's side door. I can't explain why it rusted the way it did, but I haven't really investigated it. Worried what I'm going to find. But other than that, she's a really solid car. We go on side or inside. I have to vacuum her out. But gravel driveway. As you can see, she's driven, and I love it. The dashboard has no cracks in it whatsoever. Very solid. It has a weird scratch from the windshield wipers that does not go away. Hopefully I can find something that can repair it. The interior, for being all original, it only did very short distances. Mostly the previous owner, he lived in Paris, or he still does kind of have a house. He has a house in Paris, yeah. He had a house in Manhattan, and he had a house in the town I live in. And he actually had his pilot's license. He would fly to New York, and then, you know, he didn't fly across the Atlantic, but he would fly from here to New York City all the time. So he would just drive this from the airport to the house, from the house to the airport. Very short mileage. I want to say he's about a quarter of a mile from the airport. And so it did get quite a bit of use, just short distances. Other than that, like, the interior is absolutely awesome for how old it is. Everything works. The only thing I've had to do with it, actually today, I had to go through and take apart the power regulator so that would work properly. So just in case we got our battery back up. But I'm utterly amazed how good of a condition this car is. It's something that I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to buy, and I just absolutely love it. Not 100% perfect, but just wait until we get her out on the road, which will be very shortly. And we're going to take ourselves an hour ride up to Vermont. I also never thought I'd be a person that really liked white cars. Square body Chevys look fantastic in white. Never thought that this, but it just screams. Like, it's so fancy, I had to put my fanciest shirt on. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead, take a ride, and we'll kind of explain the things I really enjoy on the way. So I really have to say, this is one of the most beautiful layouts, not only for aesthetics, but just ease of access, everything you need to see. You have your lights. I wish they'd bring back these little high beam buttons down here. Everything is visually appealing through here. A nice sounding radio. Would turn it on. Unfortunately, can't do that on YouTube. You have the two most important gauges, as well as the two idiot lights that you really need, sitting right there. And a very easily glanced down, beautiful sweeping gauge. Now, the one cool thing about the clock, I really like its location. Now, the Cadillac Escalade over there has one too, but you got to look all the way down towards, you know, the bottom of the dashboard, and it's not something you can just cursory look at, especially in a day and age where your clocks were right there. So it's fantastic. It's right where you need it to be. The dashboard has no cracks in it whatsoever, and just overall beautiful. The other cool thing I like about it is the standard tint that it has for the windows. There's that bluish tint, and you actually get it throughout the car, and it's very subtle, and I think it's really awesome. Other than that, there's some issues. Solid doors have some weird rust going on with the trim around here. I don't really understand that. The seats are awesome. You know, you don't have to worry about slipping around or anything. Beautiful seats. I love the pattern in them too. So So today's another day. Unfortunately, I got a lot of wind noise in the content from yesterday, but I did get some really great footage. But I really needed to be able to tell you and show you why I like this car so much. You have to think, this is from 63, and other than doing some coolant changing of the coolant system, I really haven't had to do much. Yesterday, the only real problem that occurred was very first thing in the morning. I had to go and open up the voltage regulator and just clean up the contacts inside of it, and that was it. But otherwise, she starts right up. It's such a quiet space inside here with the windows down. Doesn't have AC though, and yesterday was hot. But the car, I've come from so many really small, sporty type cars. I've always thought these bigger cars would be, well, land barges. And it's definitely a misconception for this old, at least this generation, because you ask it to go, it's happy to oblige. You ask it to stop, she'll stop on a dime. So I guess it's not really that you have to worry about performance, because you'll be very happy with this type of vehicle. It steers nicely, no dead zone in it. It's just an all-around fun ride. Nice and comfortable. Not something you would expect from your grandfather's barge. And as you can see in some of the footage coming up, you really put the pedal down and it's more than happy to just handle like it's on rails. It's a great expression, on rails, but I think it's used quite a bit, and it probably overused. But in this situation, you tell it to turn, you give it the beans, and it just goes. Happy as can be. Doesn't complain, doesn't creak, doesn't grind, groan, or even try to tell you to be more reserved. it's just a very fun ride, even around sharp turns. Just digs in and just turns. And you have just a steering wheel that you see people, oh, look at this electronic steering wheel, I can turn it with just a finger. I can do that going around corners with just a finger. This is from 63. It really redefines what a car, in my mind, redefines not only a big car, but what a car is from its era. This is a time capsule, a time machine into the past. And if I could, I would let you listen to the music that comes out of the speakers. I actually find myself, I find myself wanting to listen to music from the era just because of how much of a time capsule this is. It's truly a joy to drive. And it's bizarre for me to think that. I always came from, how fast can you make the car? How light can you make the car? And I know you guys are probably more along this line, or Mopars, or big cars, old muscle cars, things along those lines. But I grew up with the Mark III, or the A7 Supra, or A70 Supra, and they're a phenomenal GT car. There's, in my mind, it's one of the last truly purpose-built cars from its era that really sparks an interest in my eyes. It's very appealing looking, and but a lot of people do retro mods on this car, and it's completely unnecessary. The stereo system, sure, it's old, but it's warm, it sounds great, and as far as handling, couldn't really ask much better for a bigger vehicle. And I love driving it. It's very happy to hug the road. There are some quirks. The antenna doesn't work. The interior still kind of smells like the pole barn. The engine's not the cleanest, but it runs. I really want to keep this thing as close to I found it as possible. It's honest. It's true about what it is. It's not trying to sell you anything. All it wants to be is enjoyed. I think a lot of the cars from the 50s, 60s, and 70s are that way. And unfortunately, and I'm definitely no purist, but if you can find something that is as intact as this car is, solid dashboard, all the gauges work except for the clock. The clock doesn't work. These kind of droop over time. The other one droops almost immediately, so that one's got to get repaired. The car is just honest. And I think if you find a car like that, it's almost a shame to turn her into what she's not. So just sit back, enjoy. I have some car show footage as well from yesterday. And if you ever find a car like this, just enjoy it for what it is. Sometimes you get lucky. And you'll find that maybe you'll end up being surprised by how well something drives. So until the next time, guys, remember, keep your shiny side up. God bless. you guys remember, this was out at Hemmings Motor News, where we went ahead and dropped that original 383 back in it, and looks like it's driving. As some people were telling me that they didn't paint the exhaust manifolds, but they did, and that's exactly what they would do from the factory. Beautiful car. There are a lot of Mopars out here today, actually. And again, just look at this beautiful interior. Roland has a beautiful car. Now, this one, let's walk around this guy. Like that.
Yeah, oh, I bet. But you get, you know, you have a nice apartment.
Yeah,
it's full service.
I got a nice apartment.
Yeah.